All right, all right, all right. Who do we have in the house today? Wirebuzz, Jason Fair. What's up, my man?
What's up, Kendall? How you doing, buddy? Long time
Hey,
no talk or see, actually.
I know it's like now it's all about seeing, and it's like this is right down your team's alley. And I'm like, I haven't
Oh,
talked to Jason and the team over at Wirebuzz in a long time, and it's been my fault.
yes. No, you can't take the heat all the way, man. It's we've been in busy. Obviously, I think we just talked before the show. Obviously, I think we said 4 or 5 years since we spoke last, and you've got a family, I've got a family, so we get it, man. But we're here right now today. That's all that matters.
That's right. So we're here. We're going to talk a lot about, and folks, when you listen to this, you want to make sure that you pay attention all the way to the end because Jason and the Wirebuzz team has some great nuggets that we're going to share about video sales prospecting, and how to even do this in a better way, and from the tidbits and nuggets that they have learned over these past couple of years. And I'm going to just pick your mind, and you already have some of the things that that works well, because one of the things that I've seen, because I worked with you in the past, but you did a major pivot. So what was that pivot about? And tell us a little bit about Wirebuzz before we start jumping right into it.
Yeah, totally. So we were talking before the show here 4 or 5 years ago. We were introduced always as the video production agency, right? Which was totally fine, right? Video was trending. That's totally cool. We were executing 3,000 plus videos per year, and now it's ramped up even more than that. But there was some frustration with clients. We'd execute these awesome videos. We'd invest our time, our resources, turn it over to the clients, right? Hey, here's your video assets. Follow up with them because we want to make sure that they're launching and executing at the highest level. So we touch base with them, and we were honestly getting a lot of different feedback, meaning like, hey, we've executed a few of these videos, or we're just starting to do this, or hey, we haven't even launched. And so we saw that as an opportunity to serve our clients. And so we've added services to Wirebuzz really to help clients execute the full buyer's journey. So, we're unique in the space now that we're kind of like this hybrid digital marketing agency. We work with a variety of different businesses and organizations, and we really help map out that whole customer journey, right? Because what we ultimately want to do is make like their services, their products a no-brainer in their prospect's head. So I know it's not an easy task to do that, but what we're typically doing is we're working with the sales team, right? The marketing team, the events team, extracting all that information so we can come back with, some high-level top messaging information to create, right, that binge-worthy experience. That's what we want to be able to create digitally. And, that happens on the front end for sales in a lot of cases, but sometimes that happens on the back end for customer service as well. So it's been a lot of fun, obviously, for the last 4+ years.
Right, and that's when before you made the pivot, that's what I knew your team as and that is I had some projects that need to get done for video, and then you did an awesome job. Yet there's different stages because you have so much video. Like, all right, did it ever launch? And when did it launch? How long does it take it to launch? And now you're talking, the strategy it's more like, well, we can do it with you type of deal. Is that right?
Yeah. So we nerd out. We're all digital marketers here. And for us to take that next level with the clients and really say, hey, what's the strategy? What's the go-to market for this? Let's not just worry about the video asset, but where's the video asset going to live? What's the use case? Who's your audience, right? Who are the personas that we're targeting? So we want to get all those questions up front through that digital strategy session so we can make smart, right, recommendations to them so they can drive ROI. That's the end of the goal, right? And typically, we typically work with the businesses that have complex sales processes because typically those sales process need some sort of video component to help transfer the information. Like reading text is one thing, which is great. We do that all the time. But when you can put a video up to help explain a complex topic, right, that just makes it easier for that prospect to know less start to trust you, right? And video is the accelerant for that, obviously.
Gotcha. Now, let's go ahead and jump right into it. But before I'm like pausing because I just got off the phone, video conference, and we're talking to one of my accountability groups, And one of them were saying, yeah, I would love to do video, but I just have that fear of putting myself out there. So
Sure.
have you, and I'm like, so could you give some hints or some tips to people who are like, I don't want to be on video myself?
Yeah. No, we love this topic. We train sales teams. We've been training sales teams since March 16th, since COVID really hit, honestly. And luckily, our business has been taking off since then. So we're thankful for that. But part of it has been, hey, now that sales teams aren't able to get into their customers, their prospects, it's all about remote access now. How can you stand out, right? You can only send so many emails to the inbox. So what we've been training sales teams is creating they're kind of basically perishable videos. So when you think about a perishable video, it's something where you can use your phone, record it like this, and then ultimately you're creating either some sort of script. That's part of the process too. But typically what we're training sales teams is it's a myth that you need to have the best polished video. You need to have high-end production. You need to have lights. You can't say ums. That the point of the personalized video is really to create that one-on-one human connection, right? It's to build that rapport. It's almost like you would be there in person. So by using your phone 4K camera, you're talking into it and you're building that rapport. And there's some crux where you can use a script. There's obviously teleprompter apps, but what we tell people all the time, keep simple, be you, right? Don't start off with like a 5-6 minute personalized video. They're not going to watch it, right? Create something that's 30 seconds, but it's in context with the conversation that you're having with the prospect, right? Hey, Jimmy, we had a great call last week, and I just wanted to follow up with you. I know we're going to sync up in a couple more weeks. There's 2 deliverables we're working on. It's X, Y, and Z. Look at talking to you. Hey, have a great weekend. I mean, it could be as simple as that. And especially if you haven't been on a call with them or you're just emailing them, it's a great way to stand out. You can use that in the signature line. Obviously, when you send the email, people are more open to opening the email 2 times actually than just getting a standard email if there's a video in the subject line. So there's definitely some huge benefits for those sales teams that aren't able to get access to customers in our new world nowadays, obviously.
Gotcha. And so just pretty much get comfortable making 1-minute videos and then just with your phone, right?
Yeah, just start. Really, that's the biggest thing. And be you. You don't have to be a walking zombie and say this is the corporate spiel, right? You wouldn't do that in person. Just be you, be natural. As you start building that library of videos, you're going to start getting comfortable, right? And there's, one part of the training is once the customers, once they get up to speed on how to create these videos, there's technology that's fairly inexpensive that you can use. So when you actually send that personalized video, you have a regular custom page that's sent and you can track on the back end. That was part of the training I think that you were checking out on the LinkedIn video about how you can Yeah, so that's the other part of this. It's, hey, let's create these personalized videos. Let's start building that relationship with the customers. But then on the back end, this is the secret sauce, right? This is where you can covertly track your prospects to see who's actually engaging your videos. And so if it's based on the context, or maybe it's the first outreach, right? So if you knew which prospects were watching your videos, Kendall, who would follow up with?
Exactly. I'm like, if you open it and I can see that you've watched at least 15 seconds,
boom.
It's a no-brainer.
And then, so then you would speed up your sales process. So we're seeing this all the time. So if you have, let's say you crank up 10 different videos, you had 3 people that actually watched it to the end, you're calling those 3 people and you're speeding up your sales process. So that's part of it in a nutshell. And that's part of the system that I was talking about when I was mentioning that in that LinkedIn video that we were talking about too.
Right. And so when you're crafting that message and working with sales teams, what are some of the challenges or obstacles that either the vice president of sales or even the sales director have in getting their team members on board?
Yeah, that's a question. There are definitely some technology experts on the sales team that are gung-ho. They love this, right? They're down for it because they know it's going to help speed up their sales process. They're comfortable by using the technology. And there's the outliers, right? Those are the legacy sales reps that are just used to doing things their normal way. And it's a massaging to a certain extent where hopefully you can convert those legacy people over to the modern sales world now of creating these types of videos. And by showing them the faster response, the data in the back end, hopefully that will convince them, because they're commission hungry, right? So if it's something where they know that they can speed up their sales process and I don't have to reach out to as many people because I'm using analytics on the back end, that usually helps the conversation for sure to get those legacy ones converted over.
Gotcha. And so when you talk about the legacy individuals, those folks who are so used to either picking up the phone and dialing, and that office phone, they're not even at the office phone anymore,
right?
Unless, and then now are sending out hundreds of emails. What is the process that your team has found? And you don't have to tell us all the secret sauce, just 90% of it.
Right. 10.5, right?
Exactly. Just everything. So that little small piece. What have you found over these past couple of months that has really worked from a sequencing standpoint, if you're working with them, especially through that customer journey of getting them from a cold prospect to a closed prospect?
Yeah, absolutely. And our technology is our friend, as we know, right? And that's what we're using. We're agnostic to a lot of our platforms that we use, whether it's our internal platforms or external ones. Clients use a lot of different ones as well. But no matter what tool you're using for marketing automation or CRM, typically the first step in that 3-step process is you want to set up an email sequence, right? So once you set up that email sequence, typically in that sequence, there's like 3 to 5 emails. And so what you're doing is you're setting those up, right, over about 30 days or so, and you're setting certain day, certain time. And so the one-hit wonder email, we know it doesn't work, right? You send out one email, it's not gonna resonate. So that's part of the sequence, right? So you're nurturing those prospects. But the other thing, not only is it the sequence and it's automated, right? So once you set it up, then you can set reminders saying, hey, if you've got some top prospects, if you're doing some ABM, and you're like, hey, I want to make sure I check out these analytics in 30 days after this sequence comes up, you can set that reminder. Or the beautiful thing that I was talking about in the video, if they watch that video, you get a notification, you get an alert that your prospect watched this video. So you can strike while the iron's hot and follow up with them immediately, because you don't want to wait 30 days on them, right? You want to make sure you reach out to them immediately. So as your sequence is going through its normal 30-day process, you can start, checking the back end analytics and then figure out what's that low-hanging fruit, the ones that you're getting notifications for, and then let the sequence do the rest of it for you, right? Let it do the heavy lifting. So you're setting these sequences up in whatever system you're doing. And part of our process here is obviously we've got our own content, right? So we're pushing out these sequences to our prospects, letting them know about our digital process, our strategy, make sure we're helpful. But for other clients, it's, hey, how can we help map out that sequence for you? What are the pain points of your customers? So we need to get in the mindset of those customers when we're sending those emails. It's not all about our product or service. It's about what are their needs? And so you want to make sure in that sequence that you're setting up, the technology is great, but you got to make sure that you've got, relevant information that you're supplying to those prospects. And then part of that copy or part of that message is including developing that relationship. So if it is a cold prospect, right, you may not hit them up with that first email or second email that has you trying to connect with them, because you got to warm them up a little bit, right? You need to date them for a little bit. So maybe in that third or fourth email, that's when you start putting your one-on-one, right, rapport building videos, so you can start making a better connection. So when you actually call them or they actually watch your video, now they've seen you, now they've seen your personality, and then you can have a more warmer qualified lead versus just sending those normal, cold outreaches 1 or 2 times. And then, like I said, the huge thing about this too is the engagement, right? So we're tech nerds. That's the only way that we work here, is figuring out, hey, what's the back end? What's the analytics? Let's look at it, because we're smart, right? We want to go in there and figure out who's crushing that content. And then that way we know. And so we've been training this for years, but as you can imagine, with COVID hitting since March, it's gone like the hockey stick up, because it's like now all of a sudden crisis creates this opportunity for the businesses that, hey, we can't get in. Most of the time they don't want to talk to salespeople anyways, right? 82% of people don't want to talk to a salesperson. So now they can't even see them. And depending on your industry, like if you're in medical or you're in clinical work or healthcare, you're not getting in at all.
Not at all.
How can you stand out? So that's the secret sauce, right? That's that 3-step system. And we've been training anything from, solopreneurs all the way up to $billion sales team, right? And it can work for any type of business ultimately.
Yeah, and one of the things you talk about big sales teams. I saw that maybe there was a Tony Robbin sales team that you worked with, or what? Talk to me about how did that happen?
Yeah, we've been, I shouldn't say we, I mean, Todd Hartley, our CEO founder, has been on the Tony bandwagon for a while. We're big supporters of Tony, and we believe in his messaging, obviously, and how he's helped so many people. But we had the opportunity, and as you know, Todd, he's a dynamic public speaker. And one of the secrets that I was just talking about is, how you can track on the back end who's watching your videos. Well, we had just been working with Tony for a little bit, and one of the insiders ended up sharing that directly with Tony, and a huge light bulb went off in Tony Robbins' head to be like, that is a game changer. How are they doing that? I need to understand that. So from there, it really opened up the door of, hey, we're doing some work with them on some projects. And then it's been a blessing for Todd to be able to do a couple webinars and train not only his existing sales team, but then his customers. So he's in that exclusive business mastery group, which is super cool for us. And so that was one of the big things. I mean, that just happened. We've been working with Tony for maybe a year or so, and the business mastery just came up probably a few months ago. And it's been a lot of fun working with Tony and his team. Great people over there.
Right. And so, but you laid a couple nuggets. I don't think people have really heard what you just said, but I did, because one of the things I love about what I've learned over the past few years, just active listening. So forget taking notes. I'm just going to listen to what you said.
There you go.
So you stated that from that video, one of Tony's people sent him the video, and then a light bulb went off. Oh, Jason, tell me this. Isn't it kind of the perception that these gurus know everything? So they've been doing it for so long. So it's, now this year, the light bulb went off of someone who does television marketing all over the place back in the day. So talk to us about that from an owner's perspective. Do you think that, the small local business owners, what are some of their folks, if this works for him, what are some of the holdups for those folks?
Yeah, there's really not a lot of barriers nowadays. I mean, if you talk to us 3 or 4 years ago, there may be some barriers with the iPhone quality maybe not being as great for the videos, maybe not 4K. But now the technology where you can actually record the video, we use a couple of different platforms for the tracking. One is Soapbox by Wistia. You may have heard of some of these, you probably have. The other one, Vidyard. And these tools are very inexpensive to be able to get that data. And like I was mentioning before, we've trained everything from, a solopreneur that just has this idea and product and just need to get it out, to these large sales teams. And ultimately the tools are very similar and they're fairly inexpensive. Like the Wistia one, it's called Soapbox. They changed the price, obviously, the technology company, but I think it's
probably changed by this call.
Yeah, exactly. So we get off. I'm going to quote 300 and it's probably going to go up to 6. But right now, I think it's like 300, 280, something like that for the year. So from a small business owner's perspective, that's very digestible, right? And it pays off immensely, knowing the tracking that you get, knowing how you can actually, create these videos. And not only on the sales outreach side, but we're also training the sales team in how they can create video proposals. Because as you and I know, right, it's not a silo decision maker in most organizations. You got a team, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got your internal champion. You're trying to convince them, but you need to convince the rest of the team. So instead of like having your champion go and right, repurpose the information that you've talked to them. You need, what we're doing and training other teams is, hey, why don't you create a screen share video proposal? It's your information. It's your personality coming through. You can send that to your champion. Champion can internalize it with the rest of the team. And then all of a sudden, we see this all the time with that tracking. You see people, we'll get notifications. It's like ding, 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 ding. They're sharing this within the organization. So all the inside teams are watching this video that we created about the video proposal. So we get some huge insights to know. And it's pretty interesting. We see it so frequently when all of a sudden I get these ping, ping, ping that they're looking at the video. No joke, probably 10 or 20 minutes later, I'm like, here comes the email. Like, here comes the follow-up, because they're crushing the content right now. And, or, hey, they've got questions. We're hoping that, hey, we're going to move forward with the project, but it could be like, hey, there's some questions. We're looking at it. A lot of times I will hit them up once I get these notifications, like, hey, let us know if you have questions. We're happy to jump on another quick call, because that they're right in the heat of the moment right there. And so a lot of times I'm booking my next meeting based on those notifications that come up, which is super cool. Yeah.
Right. It's creating an email sequence.
But from a small business,
from your phone?
Yeah. So I get notifications on my phone, on my watch, right?
While you're working out, during quarantine time,
Exactly. Right.
Nice. Well, I know that you're very busy and you have a lot of things that you have to still accomplish today. But, what are some, I like to ask this question, what are some books that you suggest or podcasts you think people should follow?
All right, man. Well, you got to do Video Marketing Mastery, Todd Hartley, no brainer. We've been also crushing Trusted Advisor. I'll get you the name of the author of the book, but ultimately for us as an agency, that's where we want to get with our clients. We want to get to the ultimate, right? The Trusted Advisor stage. And so there's a great book out there. I'll send you a link after the call, Kendall, and you can, if you need to share that or whatever, but it's specific steps, tactics that you can do to get to that next level. Part of it's also mindset. And making sure you've got customer mindset in the framework, right? And it's a great book. We've been nerding out. I think I've read it twice now, and it's like our internal thing that we go to all the time. And there's obviously a lot of digital marketing books that we nerd out about. Russell Brunson's a good author, obviously, and Sales Funnels and Traffic Secrets. That's another good one we've been reading recently here.
Wonderful. Well, Jason, there's ways that people can get a hold of you, I know. So how can people connect with you?
Yeah, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's going to be the easiest way. That's how we communicated, obviously. That's usually, we're pumping up the jam on LinkedIn, no doubt about it. There's some great opportunities on LinkedIn. They just launched lead gen ads. I don't know if you saw that recently, but is that Todd in the background?
Yeah, Todd in the
back. Him and I are the only ones in the office. You can.
There you go.
Right. We've got 3,500 square feet between both of us.
Right.
So we've got social distancing at its prime.
Exactly. No, there's so many people just sleeping on LinkedIn right now, especially with the video things that are going on.
You're crushing it. We're every single day. You see us on there. We see you. The organic reach right now on LinkedIn is phenomenal. So I'd go all in on LinkedIn. We'll see how long it takes. And we're doing a lot of testing with our clients. And the lead gen form is something they just recently launched where it auto-populates the form, which is easier. Then that syncs up to your CRM. And then boom, right? You've got the follow-up happening. So
there you go. And that's what I love about you guys. And that's why, I work, with you, especially now that you're creating the entire customer journey and then working with that. So when I'm talking to business owners and talking about the business technology integration, it's like, that's great. But like we said, there's more things you have to do besides the technology. And just having the videos like we've done in the past, that's still okay, but it's how to get the stuff out and be consistent with it. That's what's key nowadays, to be able to dominate and ramp up in these marketplaces. Would you agree with that?
Totally agree. I mean, at the end of the day, we're connecting dots for them, and it's not, every dot doesn't lead to technology. Part of it is in the copy, the messaging, the persuasion messaging, and how you can get in somebody's mindset. Because if you just talk product in the beginning, and that you're not in the customer's head and what their thoughts are, that's where you lose them, right? Everybody's not Apple, right? If you're Apple, you can, boom, here's our product, buy it. Like it's a no-brainer. There's only so many companies, products and services that can do it. Most of us have to take it through a linear thought sequence to get that person up to speed. And then finally at the bottom of that journey, they're like nodding their head saying, yes, sign me up, let's do it. So that's what we do.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, Jason, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And let's continue to help businesses grow during these times, my friend. Absolutely. Helpful is the new viral, right? Let's keep it going. There you go. We're giving the virus out to everybody right now. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Great seeing you again, Kendall. Take care, man.